Welcome again to Promising Cryptos. On this channel, we bring you cryptocurrency that can bring you high gains. Have you seen the initiative of the Pi coin? You see, Pi is growing. Pi is the bomb. Pi is a currency that you will not compare with Bitcoin or or compare with Ethereum or any of these things. Somehow you can say Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a pace setter. But let me tell you, for those who are mining Pi right now, it's almost in similitude with the early days of Bitcoin. I'm just telling you the truth. When Bitcoin started. So if you're entering into the Pi ecosystem at the moment, you're just as early like the times of Bitcoin when Bitcoin started. Because what you're seeing right now is the genesis of a new dispensation, of a new financial dispensation, where you'd have cryptocurrencies being used as a legal tender in exchange for goods and services. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the truth. Pi is going to be one of those cryptocurrencies that's going to be massive. When you talk about Pi, you talk about XRP. These are utility coins that will be massive. I'm telling you the truth, that will be extremely massive. And I want to tell you that do not play with Pi. Do not play. Listen to what one of the co-founders said.
Now I'm going to talk about the importance of utility and direction of Pi applications. Applications of Pi are important to create utility and real value in Pi ecosystem. Applications can be built by the core team or third-party developers. The platform is one of the major strategies of Pi core team to decentralize the development of Pi's ecosystem and leverage the power of our global community to achieve the breadth and scale of traditional economies. For ecosystem building, there are two types of apps. First, apps with economic incentives or a business model for developers. And second, apps without a business model but essential to the infrastructure and completion of the ecosystem. Now I'm going to talk about type 1 apps with business models. For facilitating a purchase for goods and services or direct sales in Pi to pioneers. These apps make their own independent product, technology, and business decisions. What features or functionalities to include in the app, how much to charge. What we are looking for in this type of app are those that create real utilities of Pi, boost the usage of Pi, and contribute to the growth of the ecosystem. For example, apps that facilitate selling and purchasing goods and services, marketplaces, service exchange apps, apps that make direct sales of goods and virtual goods, or social applications that charge subscriptions for content or services they provide. For initial apps, we would also consider lightweight apps, meaning that it is simple and easy to understand by most pioneers and have a simple integration mechanism into Pi. For example, fun games with in-app purchases, social apps or meme apps, influence apps, in the realm of being transferable on the internet. While more heavyweight apps will be onboarded into the platform later. Heavyweight apps here refer to apps that, in addition to online exchange of value, also require physical world activities, such as inventories, supply chains, and logistics. The reason for the order falls in line with our interactive design process, where the lightweight applications at first can help us debug any issues and make improvements in the online processes of how platform, apps, and pioneers interact with each other in terms of technical integrations, user experience, and economics before introducing applications. Now I'm going to talk about type 2 apps, ecosystem apps. This type of apps refer to they don't have business models, but are essential to the infrastructure of the Pi ecosystem. The purpose of such apps are to complete inefficiencies, facilitate growth of the ecosystem, and benefit the common good of the network. Such projects can be either developed by a specific third-party developer or led by the community or the core team through open source projects with crowdsourcing from the community. Some of these apps are not necessarily having a business model in Pi and will not or should not be charged for service fees, should be free for the community, such as auditable open source KYC solution. The reward for the contributions to such projects can be community-based through Pi donations from pioneers, bounty programs, or Pi crowdfunding. The core team will continue designing concrete mechanisms with inputs from the community to explore and implement ways to support this type of apps. To surface developers who will lead this type of apps. Due to the nature of the ecosystem apps, such apps, including its functionality, features, and in-app economics, will not only be decided by the leading developer, but will be guided by the PyCore team and community feedback to ensure it satisfies the needs of the ecosystem and are in line with the interests of the community.
Disappear for 1 month to become the most dangerous person in the room. First, stop scrolling.
What is the core team's role in this type of apps? The types of apps mentioned above correlate with the depth of involvement by the core team. For type 1 apps with business model, the core team's involvement will include providing the platform along with its necessary technical support, for example, the SDK, API, and also evaluating and making the decision on whether they will be listed on the Pi platform, and keeping them always in line with Pi's models. In addition to the same things as type 1 apps, PyCore team's involvement will also include giving advice and guidance, designing mechanisms, and defining policies that incentivize these developers and facilitates such development, and when necessary, even mobilizing the community to support their development. What are the apps to avoid? Of course, in both types of applications, we want to avoid ingenuine apps that try to game the system, or apps that are not compliant with law or Pi's policies. For example, sham apps that do not really facilitate real goods and services transactions, but are in essence a channel for malicious people to scam pioneers for money or data, or speculative people to sell Pi for fiat or other cryptocurrencies, to organize unauthorized exchanges of Pi under the table, or to hoard Pi. These apps we want to avoid. We also want to stay away from any apps that will raise regulatory questions in some regions, for example, gambling apps or casino type of games. The procedure may involve evaluation by the core team, evaluation by the community committees, and continued monitoring and auditing by the larger community to ensure the compliance of law and Pi's policy